a study on the ontological structure of existential fullness Gong Thought, and the 144,000 cubit sacred sword of the living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, who came into ㅡGong, centered on the natural law of species continuity, and the empirical evidence of the Ushnāisha light emission. Abstract. This study aims to academically illuminate the realistic ontological structure of existential fullness Gong Thought, proclaimed by the living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, who came into ㅡGong, as well as the realistic nature of the 144,000 cubit sacred sword, as the manifestation of its cosmic authority. Conventional religions and traditional Buddhism have long attempted to explain sentient existence through conceptual afterlife structures, such as reincarnation, animal rebirth, heaven, and paradise. However, such frameworks have left behind serious limitations from the perspectives of natural law and realism, due to their unverifiable nature. In contrast, the Gong Thought proclaimed by the living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, is not an empty nihilistic void, but the truth of existential fullness, eternally filling the universe. Through the great radiant light, life and creation manifest as realistic ontological structures. This paper analyzes the cosmological mechanisms of Gong Thought through the natural law of species continuity, the empirical evidence of the Ushnāisha light emission, the 144,000 cubit sacred sword, and the reciprocal structure of the great radiant light. Furthermore, it explores the possibility of a future civilization centered upon light-based life structures. Introduction. Throughout human history, religions and philosophies have continuously attempted to explain the origins of existence and the nature of the afterlife. However, conventional religions have primarily centered around unverifiable concepts, such as heaven, paradise, reincarnation, and previous lives, thereby revealing limitations in explaining the actual structures of nature and reality. Traditional reincarnation theory, in particular, contains the notion that humans may reincarnate as animals, and animals as humans, thus failing to adequately explain the biological continuity and structural order of life itself. In response, the living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, who came into ㅡGong, proclaimed existential fullness Gong Thought, revealing that the fundamental truth of the universe is not an empty void, but an eternally full reality of great radiant light. The purpose of this study is therefore to analyze the ontological structure of Gong Thought and examine the realistic significance of the sacred sword and the Ushnāisha light emission, the natural law of species continuity, and the theory of non-reincarnation. The living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha proclaimed, the seed of the hibiscus produces hibiscus, and the seed of the rose produces roses. This signifies the law of species continuity. Within nature, plants and living beings maintain their original structural identity throughout the process of creation and growth. Therefore, humans are fundamentally human, and the concept that animals reincarnate as humans, or humans reincarnate as animals, fundamentally contradicts natural law. This becomes a core proposition, requiring a complete ontological reconsideration of traditional reincarnation theory. The ontological structure of existential fullness Gong Thought. Within conventional Buddhism, the concept of emptiness has often been interpreted as nihilism and annihilation. However, the Gong Thought proclaimed by the living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, possesses the following characteristics: an eternally full existential structure throughout the universe, a realistic vessel containing the great radiant light, the energy of truth, based upon reciprocal exchange, the origin of creation and life. Thus, Gong Thought is not the emptiness of nihilism, but the realism of existential fullness. The great radiant light is not merely symbolic, it is the cosmic energy that sustains actual life and existence, and human life itself. is maintained through this light, the sacred sword, and the energy structure of the 144,000 cubits. The sacred sword and cubit, described in Christian scriptures, may be interpreted not merely as symbolic imagery, but as structures of spiritual energy. The living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha, explained the 144,000 cubit sacred sword in the following manner: the life energy granted to each spiritual body, a symbol of the great radiant light, a realistic structure of cosmic authority. Therefore, the sacred sword is not a physical weapon, but a structure of radiant energy, through which the light of truth manifests through language and sound. The Ushnisha light emission and empirical realism. The living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha proclaimed that the great radiant light radiates from the Ushnisha jewel upon the crown of the head. This light emission is presented not as abstract symbolism, but as historical evidence, confirmed through photographic and video documentation. Thus, the following elements: the great radiant light, the sacred sword, the Ushnisha light emission, and life energy are understood not as metaphors, but as realistic structures, future civilization, and light-based life structures. The living Buddha medicine Tathagata, Yonghwa Maitreya Buddha declared that future humanity shall enter an era without disease through the great radiant light. This implies the following future civilizational structures: light-based life preservation systems, healing through radiant energy, the transcendence of surgery and pharmaceutical-centered medicine, the emergence of a longevity civilization. Thus, Gong Thought extends beyond religious doctrine and emerges as an ontological framework for future civilization itself. Conclusion: through this study, Gong Thought has been clarified as a realism of existential fullness, fundamentally distinct from nihilistic concepts of emptiness found within conventional religions. Centered upon the great radiant light, it establishes a cosmic structure of life and existence. Furthermore, the 144,000 cubit sacred sword and the Ushnisha light emission are presented not as symbolic metaphors, but as realistic mechanisms, revealing life energy and structures of truth. Therefore, Gong Thought may be understood not merely as a religious doctrine, but as the ontological structure of future human civilization itself.